Sewing a buttonhole on your NV50S is super simple. All you need is your machine, your buttonhole foot, otherwise known as the A foot, your desired button, something to mark your fabric with, I'm using chalk, a ruler, and of course some fabric. Now firstly, I recommend using a backing such as a stabilizer or interfacing on your fabric, as this creates a long-lasting buttonhole and prevents the buttonhole from caving in on itself, and is especially helpful for lightweight fabrics. As you can see here, I've already gone ahead and ironed some interfacing on. Now we need to mark out where you want your buttonholes to go. So first, measure the diameter of your button. Mine is 3/4 of an inch. Then I'll mark where I want my first buttonhole to start. Now I'm going to add the diameter of my button to how far apart I want my buttonholes to be. I want them to be 2.5 inches apart, so adding my button measurement will make that 3.25 of an inch. So I'll measure 3.25 inch from my first mark, and that's where my second buttonhole will be. Then measure again from that point, and that's where your third buttonhole will be. If you're stitching more buttonholes, like for a button-up shirt, you want to repeat that process for the amount of buttonholes you want. Now that all of our buttonholes have been marked, the next step is to place the button at the back of your buttonhole foot. You can do this by pulling gently on the back slider, place your button inside, and then push the slider back in until the button is held firmly in place. This determines the correct size of the buttonhole depending on your chosen button size. Now you can remove the previous foot on your machine and attach the buttonhole foot to the shank, making sure that the button slider is at the back of your machine. On the left of your machine, there is a tab that says A2 with a picture of a buttonhole. Pull down on this tab. It will align between two stoppers on the left side of the buttonhole foot. Once you've attached your foot, plug in and turn on your machine. Now you can stitch a buttonhole with or without the foot control, but I prefer to use it without, so I'm just going to leave it unplugged. Then you can turn your stitch selector to your desired buttonhole stitch. These are stitches 37 to 41. Once you've selected your stitch, you can place your fabric under the presser foot at the first buttonhole marking, lower the presser foot and press the go button. And there's your buttonholes all stitched out. All that's left to do is just to cut open the middle. To open up your buttonhole, start by putting a pin in at one end. Then using your seam ripper, you're going to cut open the buttonhole from the other end all the way up to the pin. And that pin should stop you from going too far. And then you can do that for the rest of your buttonholes. And that's how easy it is to stitch a buttonhole on your NV50S.